obviously you're hip deep in this stuff, or maybe over your head in this stuff, but
sometimes, yes.
What's the biggest thing we need to know as civilians about this, from your standpoint?
Well, from my personal opinion on Obamacare is there's a couple of things I like, which I'll go over in a minute, but what I really don't like is the fact that exchanges, we've had 2 exchanges here in California that have gone out of business. Exchanges tend to take on too much and are administratively very heavy. So they try to do too much and they don't do anything very well.
And they're mandated in Obamacare, state by state, to have an insurance exchange where people can go and buy their insurance, right?
They are mandated, but there are legal battles going on in some states at this point.
Not here, though.
Not in
California wants this
California is full speed ahead.
By October 1, they're going to have this giant exchange. What does it mean?
The exchange means that they're going to try to insure everybody, and by doing that, some people they're extending Medicaid, which will basically people with up to a single individual. Well, with up to 400% of the federal poverty level, will be eligible for a subsidy.
Family of 4 up to $90,000.
92 and change, absolutely.
Eligible for a subsidy.
Eligible, but a small albeit a small subsidy, but a subsidy. So
the problem is those subsidies are not going to cover the costs, are they?
Well, somebody's got to pay for it, and it's coming out of the taxpayer's pocket. So the name Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act, that's really the wrong way to put it. I look at it more as the Fair Care Act, and there are a couple of items that I do really. What
do you like?
I'll tell you what I like, Roger. In the individual market has been broken for a long time, and
meaning that if you're not in your employer doesn't have insurance, or you're not in some group plan,
yeah.
If you try to go buy a health insurance, it's very expensive.
I buy it on the individual market, and I could if I had a pre-existing condition that's bad enough, I could be declined. So I don't like that. I want a guarantee issue situation like they have in the small group business. Now, so that's one item I like about Obamacare, or the Patient Protection Act, whatever you want to call it, is that guarantee issue is, so everybody will be accepted at the exact same rate, so they're pooling the risk. Now, another item I really like about it is something that I believe will partially fix age discrimination in the small group market. In the small group market,
age discrimination. What do you mean by that?
Age discrimination. For example, when an employer looks at an employee and says, "Well, I can hire a 25-year-old or I can hire a 63-year-old," they're going to look at every single cost, including the cost of health insurance. Now, in the
certainly going to be lower for the 25-year-old.
In the small group market, it is, because it's age rated. Age rated
because they're healthy, they don't cost anything.
Yeah, but on the other hand, it will throw. And I've seen this happen. It will. Some employees don't want to do this, but it's a bottom line money issue with them, and they will probably hire the 25-year-old.
Sure.
You know, without saying why. But it's pretty
Unless
obvious
they want
to
an
everybody.
experienced and wiser older person.
So as of a couple of, yeah, right, like you and sometimes me.
Like me.
Well, right. So up until a couple of years ago, Roger, the gap between the best rates, that is for the 20 to 29 age bracket, and the worst rates, that is the 60 to 64 age bracket, there was about a 5, 6, 7 to 1 difference in rates. So you can see how if you were an employer,
7 times more expensive if you're 60 than 25.
It could be. There was no limit. There was no limit on how much more they could charge.
But there's a limit under Obamacare now.
Absolutely. It's 3 to 1. But
that forces young people to subsidize old people.
Absolutely, and I like that's
you like that.
I like that because
if you're 25, you don't like it.
If you're 25, you don't like it. But it's the true pooling of risk, and it's what they what they do in the large group market. They actually have fully composite rates, average age rates.
Pooling of risk is a way of saying somebody's going to subsidize somebody else.
Absolutely. So in other words, the group is going to handle a potentially unmanageable expense for an individual who might have an unfortunate catastrophic event, a broken leg, a real tragedy.
The real tragedy is that young people will no longer be able to go out and say, okay, I realize if I get in an accident, I break a bone, I get cancer, I get whatever, I'm going to need catastrophic insurance.
Yes.
I'll pay for that, but the first couple of $1,000, I'll pay for that out of my pocket. I'm healthy as a bull, I'm never going to have a problem. So,
right.
But Obamacare says you can't even buy that insurance anymore.
Oh no, actually, the political.
If you're individual,
they've run into some political headwinds, so now they're
no
offering,
kidding.
Oh, yeah, and you've heard about a couple of them. I'm not sure we have time to discuss them today, but they are now. Rumor has it they're going to be offering a catastrophic plan for the younger generation, and as we know, the younger generation tends to vote a little more liberal, as I did when I was younger.
Sure.
We all change.
But here's the problem. You've now got these exchanges, you've got government mandated coverage, you've got government mandated processes, you've got navigators. You said you were going to become one of these.
Yes.
You've got a very expensive overhead for this whole thing.
Yes.
How is this going to deliver on the president's promise that we're going to have cheaper health care available to more people and higher quality? That just seems to me to be entirely opposite of what's going to happen.
Unfortunately, I don't believe that's the truth. You know how it is when you're maybe you're at happy hour talking, oh yeah, we can fix this, and yeah, we can fix the healthcare system.
President's speeches are like happy hours. Is that what you're saying? I should take them in that vein.
Well, not just this president, not
Okay.
or you or I. We get this big contract, then it's 1% inspiration, it's 99% perspiration. You get down to the work, you go, oh my gosh, what did I get myself into? This is
2,700 pages.
This is going to be a lot of work, and he promised a $2,500 per family decrease, and I think we've had about that much for an increase.
Yeah.
But I'm sure he meant well. But when they started doing the computing the actuarial data, they said, maybe these health insurance companies are doing a halfway decent job after all. They're not going to say that publicly, but for example, let's look at one of our nonprofit insurers here in San Diego, Blue Shield of California.
Right.
Their net profit margin, their pledge to the customers is 2%. Anthem Blue Cross of California, a for-profit, they went for-profit about 12 years ago, their profit margin is roughly in the 3 to 4% range. So they have to be very precise in their calculations.
Doesn't this all lead to the inevitable consequence that the government is simply going to have to take over this whole thing? Aren't we leading down a road?
Maybe, but we're a democracy, and we depend on freedom.
Yeah, but do you see what's on now on the road?
I see what's happening. I see what's happening.
Companies are getting squeezed.
We just need full disclosure. We need a middleman. We need media like you, Roger. The other side. We need justice. We need truth. We need truth without fear or favor. That's exactly what we need.
I like that you're still an idealist after all these years.
Well, yeah, right now I am, yes.
Well, and you have to be, because you're facing a mountain of change. Everything about your life is about to change.
And this is a very fluid situation. A lot of these changes are still in committee.